Hi, so for today, we are going to discuss service department cost allocation. So of course, a company cannot survive with a production department alone. Meron yung mga service department which will help them in their day-to-day operations. Actually, sorry. We have service departments. These service departments provide functional tasks for other internal units such as purchasing, maintenance, engineering, security, and warehousing. Now, aside from the service departments, we also have the administrative departments, which provide management activities for the organization, such as human resources, hiring people, accounting, legal, and of course, the insurance. So, as mentioned, a company cannot survive with a production department alone, diba? They need this group of these other departments in order to function. In order to function. Of course, this group of this departments, diba? These departments have these departments, they incur their own costs as well. But unlike the production department, of course, wala silang income. They do not generate their own income. So basically, what we do here is that the cost of each of these departments, diba? Of course, the cost of the salaries of their employees and all other miscellaneous costs would have to be allocated to the production department, which will in turn be allocated to the products that the company manufacture. Okay? So, why do we allocate the service cost? Number one is the full cost objective. Of course, we have to make sure that we sell the product at a price that covers the full cost, that covers its full cost, of course, no? So, of course, our number one objective is cost recovery. Diba? For a company to be profitable, diba, they must sell their product at a price which is greater than the cost, which will cover all the costs. So, if you fail to allocate the service department cost uh, to your production department and eventually your products, what can happen is that you have a very large gross profit, but you can have a very low net income or net profit. And then of course we also have to establish awareness of support costs. Okay, and then fair share of cost, because everyone, all departments naman, be it production as well as other service departments, benefit from each other, diba? They benefit from this service department, for example. And then, so it follows that the production department, human resource department, must shoulder a portion of the cost of the accounting department. Kasi, for example, the accounting department, of course, they are in charge in computing for the product cost. Maybe they are also the ones computing for the payroll or the salaries of each employees. So, basically, all the other departments benefit from the accounting department. So, the cost of the accounting department must be shouldered by the production, the revenue producing departments, as well as the service departments. Okay? And then, of course, regulation for some pricing instances. Reason against allocating service costs. Number one, some managers don't want to shoulder the allocated service cost because their argument is that they cannot control the cost. Of course, um, there's a rule kasi that you only have, or you can only evaluate managers using sorry you can only evaluate managers using um, amount or figures that they can control, 'di ba? So if we allocate service department cost to them, they might argue that they are not personally they cannot personally control the cost, right? And then next, arbitrary cost is not useful in decision making. And there's also an argument that it confuses costing and pricing issues. Okay. So allocating service department costs, motivation for managers' objective. So reasons for allocating service department costs as far as motivation for managers' objective. Number one, awareness of support costs in production managers. Yun na nga, no, as mentioned earlier, you cannot function by yourself, di ba? You are dependent we are dependent to other service departments as well. Diba? So, next relates units profit to total company's profit, to total company profits rather. It reflects usage of services, encourages cost control, and encourages usage of certain services. Now, reason against, number one, it distorts profits with subjective allocations. Again, managers cannot control costs. Tapos, some argue that this service department cost is not material to profits. And then, it creates interdivisional ill will, and it is not cost beneficial. Okay? So, allocating service department costs, so we have to compare alternate courses of action objective. So, reasons for this, number one, relevant information helps compare alternatives and then provides best cost estimates when comparing alternatives. And then reason against, we have unnecessary if costs do not change among alternatives, and arbitrary allocations distort cash flow and profits for alternatives. So basically, how do we do service department cost allocation, diba? So, syempre, we use a rational and systematic basis, diba? So, the rational and systematic basis can be based on the benefit received by revenue-producing department, causal relationship, fairness or equity of the allocation, and the ability of the revenue-producing department to bear the allocated cost. So, basically, we have three acceptable methods of allocating service department costs. Number one, we have the direct method. Second is the step method or the benefits provided ranking. And lastly, algebraic method or the simultaneous equation or the reciprocal method. So we will discuss each of these three. No? So the benefit of the direct method basically is that it's very simple and straightforward. Talagang ano lang siya, systematic and rational allocation. What we're going to do is we will just allocate the cost of each service department directly to the production department or the revenue generating units without recognizing the benefits that this service department provide to the other service department as to the other service department. So straightforward siya, no? Basically pro rata allocation lang to. Now, for the step method, it's a little bit complicated, pero mas nagkakaroon ng recognition that each service department, diba, or a service department also provides benefit or service to other service departments. So what we do here is that we rank the service department, which among the 4 or the 5, how many service departments do you have, provide the most benefits to the other service department. So for example, you have your accounting, human resource, and then warehousing. So out of the 3, you have determined that the accounting department provides the most benefit, diba? So what you will do is that you will allocate the cost of the accounting department in the to the human resources, warehousing, and the revenue producing departments. So after doing that, the next step is to allocate the cost, diba? The cost of the direct cost rather of the human resource department plus the cost that the human resource department has received from the accounting department to the warehousing and the revenue generating unit. And then lastly, since ang meron na lang open na cost or yung cost na hindi na lang na-allocate is the warehousing department, 'di ba? The direct cost of the warehousing department plus the cost the department has received from accounting and human resources will be allocated to the revenue generating unit. So step method siya, step by step, no? So the basic rule is that number one, you need to determine the ranking kung sino yung pinaka nagpo-provide na ng benefit sa ibang service department. And second rule, 'di ba? Once you have already allocated the cost of that department, hindi na siya pwedeng makatanggap pa ng cost allocation from the other departments. Okay? Now, the most complicated among the 3 methods is the algebraic method. Because what we do here, again, as mentioned, we recognize that the service department also benefits from each other. Diba? The service departments benefit from each other. So therefore, what we do here is we prepare, di ba? We prepare equations. Tapos through substitution, we determine the cost. Siyempre, simplify the equation. And then through substitution, we determine the cost of each service department. And then, kung magkano yung cost na yon, that is the cost that we will allocate to the revenue generating units. Okay? So, I will illustrate the three methods using a problem for your book, from your book, in a separate video. Sorry. Ito pala, meron pala siya. Sorry. Hindi ko na pinakita sa inyo, no? So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. For the direct method, diba, you assign cost straight to the revenue producing area. So, for the service department 1, you allocate the cost to a revenue producing department A, B, and C. And then, for service department 2, whatever the direct cost of that department is, you allocate it directly to revenue producing unit ABC as well. So again, this direct method does not recognize the service provided to other service departments. Okay? So, step method to, hindi dapat siya service. Step method yan dapat, ha? So, yung step method, it partially recognizes relationship among service department. So, in this case, diba, since we have first allocated the cost of service department 1 to service department 2 and revenue producing department A, B, and C, ibig sabihin, si service department 1, yung mas nagpo-provide ng benefit kesa kay service department 2. Now, whatever the cost of this service department 2, kung ano yung direct cost niya, plus yung natanggap niya from service department 1 will be allocated to revenue producing department A, B, and C. Okay? So, it does not recognize the two-way exchange of services between service departments. Kasi nga, if when you do the step method, it's as if service department 1 does not benefit or does not get anything from service department 2, which is not the case, diba? Ano yan usually dependent naman sila. Okay? So, ito yung algebraic method. Medyo nakakalito siya ng onte. Kasi, it recognizes all interrelationship among departments. So, as you can see, si service department 1 will allocate cost to service department 2, revenue producing A, B, and C. And then, si service department 2 will also allocate cost to service department 1 and revenue producing A, B, and C at the same time. So, medyo komplikado siya na onte, pero it provides the best allocation information. Kasi nga, nare-recognize, diba, that even service department 1 and service department 2 benefit from each other. Hindi naman sila standalone units. So, ayan. So, next, sabi dyan, allocated service department costs are included in the overhead application rate for the revenue producing area. So, after we're finished with the service department cost allocation, masasama na siya dun sa budgeted overhead that we use in computing for the overhead application rate. Okay? And then, service department costs are allocated to products or jobs through normal overhead assignment procedures. So, medyo late lang yung discussion natin. Supposedly, baka dapat mas nauna siya before we have computed for the predetermined overhead rate. But just the same, diba? It's just an extra step naman, especially if you have several service departments.